Season 21 is just around the corner, and we know that Starfire Protocol is getting a pretty significant nerf, so it's got me thinking lately, what kind of builds can I try out and run on Warlock first season of the Deep? Now, alongside those nerfs, some exotics are getting a pretty substantial buff, one of those being Chromatic Fire. In a recent blog post, they broke down the way that this exotic will work going further. The changes state that the explosion also applies a status effect to targets damaged by it, depending on which subclass you have equipped. Blind goes along with Arc, Scorch goes along with Solar, Slow goes along with Stasis, Sever goes along with Strand, and Weaken goes along with Void. I've been toying around with a Suspend build lately, and I figured that additional Sever that comes along with Chromatic Fire explosions might feel really nice once we get to that change. Now, the aspect that I had in mind to kind of tie everything together was Mindspun Invocation. Now, specifically paired with Shackle Grenades, this states that when you hold to consume your Shackle Grenade and activate Weaver's Trance, final blows while Weaver's Trance is active create a suspending detonation. Essentially, every time that you get a kill when you've consumed that Shackle Grenade, you're going to suspend all enemies in the area, and if you're hitting precision shots, you're also proccing Chromatic Fire's explosion damage. Now, you can pair that alongside with something like a Kinetic Tremors Buzzard, or a Kinetic Tremors Scout Rifle, and all of these explosions and suspensions happen together. Now, with all of these things in mind, let's take a look at the different synergies that are all pairing together to make this build possible. The fragments that I've chosen to run are Threat of Generation, for the increased grenade cooldown while dealing damage. This allows you to then consume that Shackle Grenade more frequently, and you can essentially have that buff up at all times, making every single kill that you get cause a suspend. Threat of Warding is going to be really nice with that new artifact mod coming, because basically every time that you pick up an orb, you get Woven Mail, which then gives your Strand weapons unraveling rounds. Now, obviously, you have to be running a Strand weapon, so depending on what your build looks like, it may be useful, it may not be, but either way, Woven Mail gives significant damage resistance in PvE, significant damage resistance that I think this is worth running no matter what. Now, Threat of Transmutation allows you to create a tangle when you get a kill while you have Woven Mail active. It works really well with the fragment I just mentioned. I've been kind of toying around with this last one. Threat of Evolution just makes your Threadlings deal additional damage, and we're creating those Threadlings when we're getting kills here and there with the different fragments and aspects. Now, I've mentioned Chromatic Fire. This thing works really nicely in unison with everything else. It just causes additional explosions, especially when paired with something with Kinetic Tremors or with unraveling rounds and a Strand weapon come the seasonal changes. So the other two that I have equipped may change come the new season, but I'll have to do some testing and play around with things to figure it out then. We stream every day but Tuesdays and Thursdays at twitch.tv/strasner. I'm super excited for Season of the Deep to drop next week, and we'll be doing a ton of testing and build crafting once we get our hands on the new aspects and fragments, along with the different artifact mods that are coming. Not to even mention the new weapons we'll be getting. I really cannot wait for Spare Rations.